You're listening to the North Parkway Podcast, weekly talks designed to help you take the next step in your spiritual journey. You can learn more about our church at northparkway.org. And if these talks are helpful to you, consider using the link in the description to give. Your financial support helps us continue to make great content. All right, well, that's enough intro. Let's get to today's talk. What would you do if you had 1 extra hour every day? Dream with me for a minute, because last Saturday we got an extra hour, so everybody got a little test drive. But what if through the magic of Christmas miracles or something, we got 25 hours a day? What would you do with that bonus hour? Got some ideas? How many, where are my gamers at? Video games? Who would take an extra hour to game a little bit more every day? That'd be fun. All right. Or parents, who would enjoy an hour of being an adult after the kids are down? That sounds good. Yeah. Any homeowners, I would finally get that project that's been on my to-do list for months if I had an extra hour every week, right? A couple of you industrious guys, and this would probably be me, how many would say an extra hour of sleep every day would be awesome, right? It would be fun. We could do so many cool things with an extra hour of sleep between fun stuff and relaxing stuff and family stuff. How many of you guys would use your extra hour for something you really enjoy, something you really want to do, right? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. You would do after about 3 weeks, that extra hour would get sucked into everything that your other 24 hours do because of the closet principle. Because of the closet principle. I want to give credit to Pastor Craig Groeschel. This series that we're doing is inspired by a series of talks he did years ago. And he pointed something out. I'm going to shamelessly borrow this illustration because it helps. How many of you guys have ever moved from a house where you had a small closet to maybe a new place where you had a bigger closet? Anybody ever? Okay, you used to share a closet with your sister, and then you got your own closet. You finally moved into your own place, and you're in the master bedroom, and you have the master closet. Anybody ever go from regular closet to walk-in closet? Oh, I could put a bed in here. We could make it another bedroom. This is awesome. And I don't even have to ask if this happened, because I know this happened to you, because it happens to me. When you had the small closet, it was jam-packed full of stuff. And the moment that you moved to a bigger closet, you went, whoa, I've got all this space for my stuff. This is great. I can spread everything out. I can color coordinate my shirts, or whatever I want to do in my closet. What would happen if we took a tour and we came to your closet today? This is still spacious, or is it just as full of stuff? It's full. It's full, because that's what we do as humans. That's what we do. Write this down in your notes or check it out on the app. The closet principle is this: humans expand to fill every space available. That's just how we roll. We move to a new territory and we fill every space available. We move into a house, we fill every space available. I won't even ask how many of you guys, your car has never been in your garage, because it's full of stuff, right? That's what we do. That's how we roll. And because of the closet principle, I'm confident that if you just went with the default, an extra hour every week would be spent doing the same thing that the other 24 are doing. It would be great if we had more space. I would love it. But we only have 24 hours every day. So I have this jar with me to represent your 24-hour day. And we all know there are some things that you have to do. They're like basic operating system tasks, things that if you don't do them, you will probably die. Things like eating, right? I'm going to put some of that in my day. Things like, washing your body and getting clean, brushing your teeth, making room for more food, cheering for the Dallas Cowboys, right? Stuff that this is essential to life. Okay, so you have to do that. But here's what I found. In today's world, okay, this is not 1524. It's 2024. In today's world, we can get all of the basic survival things, and there's so much space. Think of the possibilities. You could do so many things with your 24-hour day. And our world is so good at presenting opportunities and other things that you can do with all of that space that you've got. I've got cool things. Let's see. What do I have in here? Job. Oh, that's not cool. But you kind of have to do a job if you want to be able to eat. So I'm going to put some work in there. And then, let's see, not that one. Oh, chores. Man, we're starting with all the boring ones. Well, you have to do chores if you want your house to be clean. Let's throw some, let's see. Oh, the kid wants to, any of you guys have musical kids? Kid wants to join the choir. Okay, well, we'll do that. When are the practices? Yeah, we can fit it in. And let's get some basketball in there, and soccer when basketball season is over, and hockey when soccer season is over. And how about dance? Let's do dance, right? I always wanted my girl to have the dance costume, and well, because I said dance, I probably need another job. Any dance parents, you know what I'm talking about, okay? And oh no, what church, right? Let me cram some of that in there. And I've got it, and I've got my day. I've got my 24 hours full of stuff. Some of you guys, you've had this, and then you go, oh wait, I have to sleep. At some point, oh no, stupid Chris. Okay, I have to sleep. So some of the really important things, I just kind of cram that. I may not get as much sleep as I want. And I am married, so I should probably spend a little bit of time with my wife. That's, maybe that would help. And then, oh gosh, like mental health, physical health, maybe. Okay, there's just the nub in there. All right, and this is our life. I've got all the stuff, and some of the really important things are still there. They're just not there as much as I want. I wish I could do them more, but I can't. Okay? How many of you guys would say, I wish I could spend more time on the things that I love doing, I just can't? Anybody else? I wish, but I can't. If I had a couple extra hours, I could fit it all in. I wish, but I can't. I wish, but I can't. Now, isn't that an odd thing to say if you're a grown adult who makes your own schedule? I wish that I could spend time here, but I can't. There are a lot of things I wish I could own the Dallas Cowboys, but I can't. I wish I could breathe underwater, but I can't. There are a lot of stuff that I wish I could do, but I can't. I wish I could control what gets into my day and what. Why? Why do we feel that way? Here's why. It's the closet principle again. Write this down in your notes. We'll put it up here on the screen. When you lose margin, you lose the ability to choose the best things in life. They either fit in or they don't. But when you lose margin in your schedule, you lose the ability to choose. When the closet is full, you lose the ability to choose what goes in. It either crams in or it doesn't. And some of you know what it's like to go through a season or a long season where every moment of every day is just booked. And when it's full, you don't have any flexibility. Okay? You can't, right? It doesn't fit in there. And we just recap margin. We talked about this last week. We're looking at different areas of your life that you need margin. And our definition of margin goes like this. Margin is the amount available beyond what's necessary. It's the amount available in any area of your life beyond what's necessary. If this is my day and this is my time to, oh wow, that's kind of hard to read. If this is my time to take care of my mental and physical health, that's not very good. But we don't attack this by going with margin, okay? How many of you guys are good at efficiency? Anybody else? I can multitask. See, here's what we typically do. Let me stick the lid on here. I hope those don't fall. We say, that's all right, Chris. I don't need margin. I just need efficiency, right? I'm going to brush my teeth while I take a shower, while I use the bathroom, while I'm praying, all at the same time. I'm going to get it all in there and pack it down. And I'm going to talk to grandma while I'm driving to work, and I'm going to listen to some podcasts okay. And if we have to, we'll just go to church twice a month instead of okay. And now I can get some of it in there. And if you work really, really hard, well, let's just take a few hours less at the job. And maybe, you know what? I'm going to have one of the other basketball parents drive my kid every other practice. Okay, I'll make it all work. Okay, and I can cram it down. There. I did it. I have a great life. Doesn't sound like it. Some of you guys, you're supposed to enjoy this wonderful life, and sometimes it's more like I'm enduring life than I'm enjoying it. But you can make it fit in a perfect world where nothing unexpected ever happens. Okay? But I don't know where that is. I don't live there. And if you don't have margin, here's what happens. Okay? Some of you guys, you're laughing because you know this happens. If you don't have margin, put this up here. What's urgent displaces what's important. There are things in your life that are important, but the truth is they'll still survive if you neglect them for a couple of days. But if your headlights both burn out somehow at the same time, this is based on a true story from this week, okay? I don't know how that works. Is there like an electrical, like, pop, okay? It's getting dark. It's dark when I go to work. It's dark when I get home from work. Please bring back daylight savings time, okay? You need headlights. And I know that time for prayer is important. And I know that time to just zoom out and reflect on life and think about things is important. But I really need headlights. And I'm not going to get a ticket for not praying today, and God will understand, but I am going to get a ticket if I drive down the road with no headlights. And so I really want to do this, but I'm sorry, there's no time because this has to fit in. And the things that you can afford to snooze for a bit are the things that get bumped off the list. What's urgent displaces what's important. You really want to sleep. You're a mom. You're working hard. You really want to sleep, but it's already late getting the girls down to bed. And right before your daughter lays down to go to sleep, she says, "Mommy, I don't have any clean socks to wear to school tomorrow." What? Are you kidding me? Come here. You pull out the drawer. Dong. How many pair of socks are you wearing at one time? When did you start wearing 4 pairs of socks? I know, I wash socks. "Mommy, I don't have any socks." And you're a good mom, so you don't want to send her to school in flip-flops in November. So instead of sleeping, I really want to sleep, but there's an urgent need for socks. So I'm up to 2 a.m. washing and drying socks. There you go. Okay, it's okay. I still fit. It still fits. Whatever's urgent displaces what's important. You really want to have some adult time with your wife. You really want to connect and not just be co-parents, or not just live in the same house. You want to have some romantic time with your wife. But when you get home from work, the dog is gone. Somehow the dog got out. I don't know whose job it was to shut the door, but the dog got out. Who knows where the dog is? But you're going to spend the next 3 hours driving through town. "Puppy," right? "Sparky, Sparky, Sparky." You're driving, you're cruising the neighborhood. You know, your friends are calling neighborhood watch thinking there's a creeper that's trying to pick up girls. You're driving down there and it's, "Sparky, come here, Sparky." "Honey, when we find that dog, I'm going to kill it." "Sparky, come here," right? Because I wanted some time, but there's, okay. And here's what happens when you have no margin. Poor Sparky, she's a little squished. That's what happened, okay? When you have no margin in your life, what's urgent displaces what's important. Because you can not spend time with your wife and she'll still be married to you tomorrow. You can neglect your physical health and still be alive tomorrow. You can push off some of the most important things, but if you push them off and you push them off and you push them off and you push them off, then eventually they're not so healthy anymore. And the stuff that takes a long time to go bad when you neglect it, it takes a long time to get back to healthy when you decide, I need to lose some weight. Well, you can't just snap your fingers and do that. Took 4 years to get to the weight you're at. You're not going to get out of it in 4 days. and you get stuck. God has a better way to handle your life than this. You need margin. Here's what he says, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. You can find it on the Bible app, or we'll put it up here on the screens. Notice what God says to us. He says, look carefully. Okay, I don't do this by default. I don't accidentally stumble into the right way. He said, look carefully then how you walk. Not as unwise, but wise, and then just watch this part, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil. He said you need to be careful how you're spending your time. You need to plan. You need to be intentional about how you spend your time. You only get 24 hours every day. The bonus hour is just not going to happen. You only have so much time to live your life. And let's be honest, if it's jam-packed this full of stuff, it's not very much fun anyway. And if you lose margin, you lose the ability to choose the best things. You just do what's urgent. You just do what you have to do. So here's what I urge you to do instead. If you don't want to be ruled by the closet principle, if you don't want to be overtaxed and overbooked all of the time, here's what you need to do. Write this down. You need to be intentional about your schedule. This is what we talk about in church. Hey, this is part of the deal, okay? Well, that doesn't sound very spiritual, Pastor Chris. Yeah, but it is. Because one of the things that falls off the fastest is time in prayer and reading the Bible with God. I'm not going to ask for a hand raise, but I know if the pastor sometimes is like, oh man, I had a 3-month streak on the Bible app. Shoot, I knew I forgot. Okay, I know if it happens to me, it happens to you. You need to be intentional about your schedule. You need to not just do what's default. You need to be different than normal, because let's be honest, in our society and many societies before ours, normal is not really healthy. Default is not really working. Let me show you what I mean. A recent survey asked Americans whether they are too busy to enjoy life. Okay? 55% of adults said they are too busy to enjoy life. They're just going through the motions. They're just rushing from one thing to the next. They're getting everything done, but more than half of the adults in our country say, I'm not enjoying it. I'm just too stinking busy. Okay? And if you have anyone under 18 living in your house, okay, anyone with kids in their house, 74% of parents with someone living in the house says, I'm too busy to enjoy life. I'm a taxi driver. I'm an Uber. That's all I am. I'm a bank and I'm an Uber driver. That's all I have. Okay, I'm too busy. And that's where you get to the point where you say, Chris, I wish I could spend more time doing the things that matter most, but I can't. Because I'm full. Okay? There are two problems with this way of living. I want to show you how to fix both of them. The first one is this. Write this down in your notes. Whatever matters most needs to be scheduled first. I'm going to unload some stuff and reload it. Whatever matters the most in your life, it needs to be scheduled first. It needs to be given priority. Whenever you decide, okay, what are we going to do this next Saturday? Then before you allow your to-dos to tell you what you're doing, you need to make a plan. You need to come into it. Next week, we're going to talk about your finances. If you don't have a plan for your money, somebody else does. Okay? MasterCard does. Apple does. Target does. You got to have a plan. Well, the same thing happens with your time. See, you got to have a plan. And so here's what I'm doing. I'm going to take everything back to the full 24 hours. And I'm going to start by putting the things in that matter the most. The first one you need to do is this. Write this down in your notes. Okay? You need to schedule time for rest. You need to schedule time for rest. You need to be intentional about this part because, man, I have lived it. I know. Said it last week. If you throw enough coffee and Red Bull at the problem, you can do life without enough sleep. You can do life without enough rest. But again, I said it last week. If you missed last week, no big deal. You can catch it on any of our social media channels. But God said you have 6 days every week to get work done. 1 day a week, I want you to just have rest, just chill. Just regenerate your health. Some of you guys, you need to schedule waking rest. You need to schedule time to just sit and watch the show. I don't have time to watch a show. Well, you need to every once in a while. Some of you need to be intentional about getting enough sleep because let's be honest, everyone else in your house, they know how you become whenever you don't have enough sleep. Okay? We all love that one person in the family until they don't get enough sleep, and then the Grinch has possessed their body. And it's like, oh man, can you just go back to your room for the rest of the night? You don't want that. Here's another thing. Write this down in your notes. If you want to get out of the closet principle, you need to schedule time for relationships. You need to put it on the calendar. You need to make an appointment. And if you're married, I'll go ahead and solve the problem for you. You need date time with your husband. You need it. When you were dating, when you were trying to figure out if you wanted to be married to each other, you didn't just say, you know what, we're so busy, but every once in a while, I'll just high five you as I'm walking out the door and you're walking in the door, right? You made plans. And when someone else said, dude, we're going to go out for drinks later, you're like, I can't, I'm booked, I have a date. You need to schedule time. You need to make time to invest in your kids. Some of you need a daddy-daughter date every once in a while. Some of you guys, you know you should be talking to mom a little bit more often because she lives alone, because dad's with Jesus now. And you mean to, but you just forget. You got to schedule. Schedule time for rest. Schedule time for relationships. Here's one more. You need to schedule time for reflection. See, because I'm a pastor, they all start with the same word, right? Same letter. R. But it's true. You need to schedule time for reflection. Oh, what does that mean for reflection? You need to have time when you're not trying to accomplish anything other than just thinking through where you're at in life. You need to schedule time to pray about what's happening in your life, because praying, I'll just multitask prayer. It's not the same. You know that. It's not that I'm just going to pray while I'm doing calisthenics. No, it's not the same. You need some time to stop and be quiet and listen. I started doing this a couple of years ago. Once a week, I have time. I eat lunch outside. And if the weather's bad, I'm sitting in my car, okay? And I take time where I'm not trying to fix any problem in my mind. I'm not thinking about the to-do list in my mind. I'm not thinking about who I should start in fantasy football. I'm actually not thinking about anything. I'm just creating open space in my brain so that the Lord can speak to me if that's what He wants in the moment. If you've ever felt like life is passing you by and you're just responding to everything, you probably don't have time for reflection. So you've got to schedule those things in. You got to schedule those in. And with those on the schedule, all of this other stuff fits in a little bit easier, because these things, taking a shower, eating enough, okay, those have to happen. But once the big things are scheduled, then you can add the other stuff back in. Yes, I still need to do chores. Yes, I still need to do a job. Maybe I'm in a season where I have to work overtime and I don't want to. But if I account for it, I can make it work. Yes, I still want the kids to do fun things before and after school. Yes, I still want to come to church, and I want to volunteer. Maybe I want to come on Wednesday nights, but I want to be careful when I'm making the schedule that I leave one more thing. Okay? The most important thing that you need to schedule, be intentional about your life. The most important thing you need to schedule is margin. Write this down. You need to schedule margin for the unexpected. Okay? You need to plan for it. If you have 24 hours a day, you maybe just need to book 23 of them, because you know if this is filled to the max, I know that something is going to happen. It may not be headlights. It may not be the dog. It probably will be the dog getting out again. They are amazingly good at getting out. Okay? It may not be socks. It might be something totally different. But we've lived long enough to know. We know that something's going to come up, and I don't want what's most valuable in my life to get pushed out of the way because of headlights and socks. I want to have time for the things that matter. You know, at the beginning, I asked you to dream with me. What would a dream scenario be like if you had an extra hour of sleep? Well, let me ask you, let's dream a different dream. What if that extra hour stuff that you wish you could do, what if that actually fit into your 24-hour day? What if every morning when you woke up well rested? Plus 20% EXP for the next 20 minutes of the game, right? Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Well-rested bonus. What if you got that in real life? What if every weekend you had time to work on your golf swing, or to work on your nail painting, or to work on whatever hobby that you love that just restores your life? What if married people with kids, what if you had time in the evening once the kids were down to just have an adult conversation? Would that be refreshing? What if you had time to hear from God and to feel Him beyond just a Sunday morning? And on Thursday afternoons, you're like, man, I had a great time with the Lord. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be nice? What if somebody asked you, you were not enduring life, you could honestly say, I'm enjoying life. That's not a dream scenario. That's what margin looks like. It's being able to put value in the things that matter the most, so that in your busyness, you're not losing your marriage. So that in doing all of the stuff, you're not losing your body, because you only get one. So that in filling your life with good things, you're not missing the great things that God has for you. Because the truth is, a lot of the best things in life happen in the margins. And if there's no space, if there's no room to breathe, you will want to, you will wish to, and you'll say, man, I wish, I just can't. And cutting stuff out is painful. I don't want to give you some kind of unfair reality here. Cutting stuff out is painful. I promise, if you set out to do this, I promise you that somewhere along the way, you will talk to a friend, or you will see somebody else's TikTok feed, and you will say, man, how come they're doing all of the stuff and I'm not doing it? I should put my kids in this too. I should start going to the gym like they do too. I promise you, you will be tempted to say, I wish my life was like theirs. But the reality is, a lot of the people who are doing all of the stuff, they're in that 55% that says, I'm doing it, but I'm not enjoying life. I'm just trying to get through it. I believe God made you for something better. Ephesians 5, God says, don't be a fool, be wise. Plan your time, make the best use of the time. And here's the key part here, verse 17. Don't be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. You're going to need His help to do this, because it's not natural. It's countercultural. You're going to need God's help to make the decision to cut something out of your life that's good, because it's making it difficult for you to do the things that are better. And the reality is, your kids' friends at school are probably still going to do the things, and they're going to say, why don't we get to do that? And your friend from high school who's already retired because they work 3 jobs, they're already going to be out on the lake, and you're going to say, why am I still working? Why don't I have that? But what you have instead is peace. What you have instead is balance. And that's what God designed you for. That's the experience on this planet. He wants is balance and peace and space to breathe. So give yourself some breathing room. Don't let the closet principle take the things from you that you wish you could do. But you make the decision and say what matters the most. That's what's going to go on the schedule first. I'm going to be wise because God told me to be careful how I use my time. And I'm going to ask him for wisdom and believe that when I say, God, show me what to do, he'll show me what to do. Because I want you to be in that small minority that enjoy your life and that have a full life, but not an overloaded one. That's living life to the full. That's schedule with margin. Hey, this is Pastor Chris again. Thanks for listening. If today's talk was helpful in your spiritual life, odds are there's someone you know who could benefit from it. Take a minute right now to share it with them. And if you live in the area, come try out a service in person because church is more fun with friends. See you next time.